Hi everyone, welcome back to my Sunday morning rant at David at Go To Hobbies about our stupid, idiotic, incompetent government. I don't know about you, but I just can't believe the stupidity and incompetence of what the Conservative government have done in respect of allowing thousands and thousands and thousands, millions of illegal immigrants into the UK. They haven't dealt with it. They've failed miserably. Boat people, why are they paying these people to get across to the UK? I reckon the government know who's doing it. I reckon the military know who's doing it. And why is the French not stopping them? Why are they using the raw RNLI to ferry these boat people in or to tow them into port? Australia, what happened in Australia? They had the same problem. They had people coming across in boats. Yeah? I think Australia dealt with them better than what we have dealt with them. But I just feel, well, you British people, you're losing their identity. We have lost our ways. We have been lied to by consecutive governments, and I will touch on it like I did in the last video. What did Gordon Brown do? He called that woman a bigot. What on earth is in these people's minds? Yeah? What is wrong with people in government? I'm not going to bullshit you around. They've got their heads so far stuck up their backsides, they don't know whether they're pooing it or doing it. Because why would a person call a woman a bigot? How disgraceful, how disgusting a Prime Minister could be towards one of the population. And okay, you might not agree with what she was saying, you might not like what she said or did, but what gives you the right to call a person that? It takes all, what's the word I'm looking for? Respect, understanding, and trust in governments. Gordon Brown is the most despicable person, or one of the most despicable persons that should ever have been in government, apart from Maggie Thatcher and Tony Blair. What is it with people? They can't keep a sensible attitude. They're ruled by these advisors that think they know best. But it doesn't stop them speaking like calling a woman a bigot. But okay, that's one instance, right? So what other things they say behind closed doors? Yeah? What other screw ups do they do? What other BS do they come out with? Making excuses or lies or deception or corruption or incompetence. This is what governments are like now and in the past. I have no respect for our government because they have failed us time and time and time again. Why? Because they are more interested in themselves, more interested of squandering companies' assets, companies that we owned, So in other words, what happened? What did Maggie Thatcher do? The number one, she destroyed the mining industry. Secondly, what did she do? She brought in the poll tax. That was a huge mistake, but a good mistake because it destroyed her credibility. What gets me, right? People advise governments, and it's not just the Prime Minister, it's the people advising them. So it's not only the person in government making the decision to sign this action off, but it's the advisors that are helping, or spin doctors, as they would like to be called. Gee whiz, have they got their heads stuck up the wrong way, haven't they? It seems that they're living on a different planet. They're not in grasp of reality. They're not in grasp with what people want. Unfortunately, people voted these people into power, but then they don't vote these advisors. They don't vote for these spin doctors. They are appointed. So what does that tell you about government? It's like a big, huge net. They get this net over the lot of people and they draw that information in and they think they know best. But they're totally out of reality. They're totally out of information and they're totally out of context because they don't know what the people want. If they did, they'd do something about it and we'd not be in this situation now. Going back to Maggie Thatcher, what else did she do besides destroying the mining industry and destroying people's faith in government? Because that's where I think it all started. And what did that previous, I can't remember his name. He said something in the lines of, "You're selling off the antique treasures of the country," meaning to say you're squandering the assets. So what did she actually do? She privatized businesses. In other words, businesses that were owned by the country. We owned, do you remember British Rail? Yeah, British Rail. What about British Coal? What about UK Steel? Oh my giddy auntie. UK Steel. Tata. It's not British, is it? They're going on strike about the blast furnaces in Port Talbot. And they're now going on strike. Why are they going on strike? Because people are in fear of their jobs. Why? Because it's all about greed. And it's not only this country isn't facing the problem, there's other countries around the world. But instead of putting people, jobs first, and instead of we're all in the same boat, yeah, okay, you supply your local needs. But where you're trying to outcompete other countries, okay, you shouldn't allow those countries to import steel into this country or send valuable resources outside the country which you could use yourself. Why don't we have the principle of looking after ourselves first instead of squandering our assets? Because of mismanagement of government. There we go again. Mismanagement of government. Because our governments have screwed us over. Now, so she's privatised businesses, and she sold off these businesses. And look at the railway industry. Every Tom, Dick or Harry is running a train network or train service. What was that company? It was well, so many of them. I'm not going to go there, but you know where I'm going with it. But the point I'm trying to make is They've sold our assets off, and instead of benefiting the people and making our society sustainable and having a great economy and doing the things that are right, they've had a very short-sighted principle and short-sighted needs where they outweighed the short-term benefit as to the long-term benefit. And it boils down to advisors probably telling them what they can do and what they can't do, or what options they have. I just find it hard to understand how we have been so poorly mismanaged over the years, and we're in the same boat now with Rishi Sunak. And let's be honest, right? It's not an easy job being Prime Minister, because what you thought is your allies in government are just willingly to stab you in the back. So they're all two-faced, they're all turncoats, and they're all treacherous. And this is what governments are like. Everyone is divided. Everyone wants to stab each other in the back because they've got their heads so far stuck up their arses. And I'm better than you. Oh, I've got a nice new Range Rover. Or I've got a Porsche. Or I've got a Rolls Royce. It's the attitudes. It's about them and us. You earn it, fair enough. But don't exploit us, the general public, for your own greed, which most businesses do. They don't. I will say it, Scottish Power, how they treated me. They are the most despicable company in reality. And the way they treated me, I can only speak from personal experience. And anyone that wants to go with Scottish Power, don't. They are absolutely mindless morons, the way they treated me. And this is my own personal experience of how I was treated. So don't go with Scottish Power. And if you're with Scottish Power, leave as soon as you can, because they are horrible people. And I wrote to the CEO, Keith Anderson, of Scottish Power. And that put a spanner in the works, because now they're trying to be nice to me. And I've got to write them a nice email. No, I'll tell them how it is, how they made me feel, and what they did. And they're the most despicable, horrible, nasty company I've ever had to deal with. So there's a bit of a warning for you. Going back to our utter complacent and stupid governments. Now, I know I'm going a bit of waffling on here, but the principle is, we use Scottish Power as an analogy. Right. They are charging extortionate amounts, like the rest of the energy companies. I'm not just isolating Scottish Power here, of greed. They made over 1,000 million. That's over a £1.1 billion profit. Yes, you heard me right. Over £1 billion profit. Okay, so let's draw this into respective reality. Our government are spending on illegal immigrants nearly 5 billion. How much does the government take from taxing our vehicles on the road? I think it was about 7 billion, if I remember right. I might be wrong with the figures, but it's enough to pay for all these illegal immigrants. But what about all the potholes in the roads? People have actually died because of the potholes in the roads, because the councils are not repairing the roads. So would this be classed as corporate manslaughter? What about interfering with evidence of a crash or accident, where the council come along, repair the road surface? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? So a lot of things are happening which is to cover up what has happened, which amounts to possibly corporate manslaughter. And yet again, councils, potholes, a duty of care? No. Councils will only react after an event, as you will see. Just look at road death caused by potholes. Look on YouTube, there's plenty of videos besides mine. But the point I'm trying to make to you is they will always react after that. Councils won't be proactive, they are always reactive. So someone has to die first. So all these potholes, they've just started repairing the potholes in Nottingham roads. Thanks to Ben Bradley trying to fight our corner. So Ben Bradley, I don't have an issue with you. You're a good lad. You've done your best. So, but it's the whole principle behind it, and why we've had to try and get the money. It should be already allocated. But why are we in this situation? Because governments have wasted money. If we didn't have 4 billion to nearly 5 billion money spent on immigrants, perhaps that could have been spent on road services. Why have we got so many immigrants in this country? Because we was in the common market. Why was we in the common market? Because our stupid governments put us in there. So we got to blame. Yeah, our stupid governments. Who let us into the common market? Yeah, you guessed it. Maggie Thatcher. I think it was anyway. I might be wrong. But I don't know. Do you get my point? Incompetence governments. And you just get to a point, you think to yourself, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight this tooth and nail. So this is why I'm saying to you, wake up, vote for reform, vote for Nigel Farage, and get our country back. Because we need to kick out all these foreigners, send them back to the country they come from, because they're costing us billions. Nearly £5 billion of taxpayers. Yes, moi's money. I ain't got 5 billion. I wish I had. I'd be helping a lot of people if I had that sort of money. When do you hear about millionaires helping people? Okay, they give them a job, maybe because they've got a business. What about these millionaires and billionaires? Yeah, helping people. Do you ever hear it? No, I don't. They've got all this wealth, and what they're doing it, living a life of luxury. I'm not disputing they've earned the money, they've turned the companies round and made them profitable. What about sharing? What about giving? It's right taking, but what about giving? I believe in fair principles. What you take, you've got to give back. And appreciation goes a long way. So I think at the end of the day, it's about we need Nigel Farage to sort this country out for us. Because we can't trust our governments that are in place. Labour, will definitely screw us over big style, because we'll put the country in so much debt. He will borrow billions upon billions of pounds. Conservative, they will have cutback, increased taxes, increased national insurance contributions to fund the NHS. And I don't agree with the doctors, junior doctors, going on strike. Well, when your back's against the wall, what do? But when you're dealing with people's lives, yeah, I don't think you have an option. I don't think people should be allowed to strike in the National Health Service. I totally disagree with that. You might think differently, but that's up to you. But my principle is, like the police service, I don't think they should be allowed to strike. I dare say it's in their contract, they're not allowed to strike. And it's like the ambulance and the fire brigade. I don't think they should be allowed to strike, because they are doing a crucial service. And I disagree if the paramedics go on strike. I disagree with the fire brigade going on strike. It's almost like saying the military is going to go on strike. Yeah? You've got to have some principles, and you've got to have moral understanding of that. Yes, the cost of living is going up, but you've got to give these people sufficient money to be able to live. With the price of fuel going up, the price of raw materials going up, they've got to be able to live the same as everyone else. But it seems that our government are just hell-bent of letting these companies put increase after increase after increase up, and destroying the British economy and wasting money hand over fist. So why are we in this situation? Because our government has mismanaged the economy. They have not stopped companies from putting fuel prices up. They have not stopped companies from charging extortionate rates for gas and electricity. Look at the price of travel. A ticket to go on train travel. Why? Why is it like that? Because our stupid governments have privatised them, and they can charge what they like. And it's just like the energy industry. These companies can charge what they like. Why? Because we don't own it. If you kept the assets within the British society, in other words, the British Empire, instead of squandering our assets off, we wouldn't be in this boat now, because the short-sighted governments have squandered our national assets, our national treasures. That's what you've got to think about. And that is why, hopefully, Nigel Farage will do something about it. He's about the only person who's got his head screwed on the right way, hasn't got his head stuck up his arse, and he's talking sense. That is why I'm going to vote for reform. And that is why you should vote for reform. Because if you want something to happen, he's about the only person that's going to talk sense and do sensible things. For all the other parties, they've got a huge track record of incompetence, failure after failure after failure, and wasting our assets. I will leave it at that. Let you make the decision. Leave me a comment below, because I dare say there's going to be quite a few comments about our cock-up governments of what we had. And Nigel Farage is about the only sane person we can trust to do it. And that is the whole point, trusting Nigel Farage. And I trust him. I have faith in him, and I have a lot of respect for him, because he's only the man that's got some balls to stand up and be counted. Well done, Nigel Farage. You have my vote, and a lot of other people on my channel are supporting you. Thank you again, and thank you to everyone that's watching this video or watched this video, and people that are leaving comments, and my subscribers too. Thank you all very much indeed. It is highly much appreciated, and thank you again. So take care. See you in the next video. Bye for now.